Spiritual Shepherd. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are getting into something that is a little bit long overdue, which is being divergent. So ultimately, me and my lady, we just watched the Divergent series again. I actually own it. So it's a very good series, and it's very similar to that of like The Matrix. It's similar to that of Hunger Games. It's similar to, a multitude of, hero's journey aspects between all of them. So you can study the main character. You could study other types of characters. One of my favorite characters is 4. Ultimately, I resonate a lot with this guy. So one big thing too, guys, is in psychology and in the way that we learn, there's something called neurotypical and neurodivergent. This is where they receive the word divergent. Now, I know that this might be kind of a strange topic to talk about, but I know that people really resonate with this content, so I figured I would make a video with it. But ultimately, I'd been talking about divergence, being a divergent. What is being a divergent? A lot of people were like, they'll say some stuff, then I'll show them the move. They're like, damn. And ultimately, being a divergent means to not being, you are not capable of falling into categories. And you don't want to be or you are capable of going into every category. Okay. You fit into too many categories. You're not just a neurotypical person where you're just like, this is what I'm going to do. Okay. And I'm not going to do any of this other stuff. Instead, you're like, I'm going to learn it all. I want to learn it all. And there also to control. A lot of people try to control people who are divergents, and I think that this whole thing about be divergent. I remember I lived at one of my old places, and his brother, he wrote a song about being divergent, like being too divergent for things. And I think that is a very great mindset to hold is like, be too divergent, step aside, be set apart, set yourself apart from the normal, the neurotypical, from the regular type of lifestyles. The regular type of lifestyles are going to lead you to average, and average is the enemy. Average is the debt that you pay. Average is, the shit you have to pay at the end of the day, okay? When you are above average, it pays you. It ends up paying you. Now, with being divergent and neurodivergent, okay, so if you look at a multitude of things, maybe I'll actually put it up here and I'll show a little picture of it. But this is the difference between neurotypical and neurodivergence. Okay, so neurotypical is it has one solution. Okay, and then neurodivergence has a multitude of solutions depending on what type of realm and experience or environment that the divergent is in. Okay, and see, this is how you start to wield and cultivate strengths in your mindset, in your lifestyle, and also cultivating it within your emotions, within your relationships, within your mentality, within your fitness, within your business, you guys get the point. Okay. Now, as you're cultivating being divergent, what does this mean? Let's break it down. Okay. So this means that maybe you don't do things the typical way. You don't live typically. So yes, you might go to church. Yes, you might go to school. Yes, you might have a job. Yes, you might be in public. Okay. But you are not like everybody else. You are not like everybody else. You might look like everybody else. You might be able to walk and talk like everybody else. But that does not mean that you are like everybody else because you're a neurodivergent. Things do not faze you. Things do not put you asleep. You see through things. You see through objects. You see through people. You see through systems. You see through teams. You see through bosses. You see through elders. You see through you see through your peer group who's justifying all their fucking toxic ass lifestyles. You see through this. Okay, and is it bad or negative? No, in no way is it negative. It's just this person, this being, they're not a person, this being, this living being, okay, a person is a sole individual corporation, but we are not corporations, okay, only when our lives are signed over. So we are actually living beings, okay, which means we have a soul, okay, we have a soul. Corporation means dead entity, bodily system. Now, one big thing is that you might be able to walk like everybody else, act like everybody else, talk like everybody else, and that is being neurotypical, blending into typicality, okay, so being typical. But as soon as you start to emit your divergence, as soon as you start to act differently, you might be shunned for it. You might be cast out for it. You might be on the run for it. You might be hunted for it. You might be shut up for it or wanted to be shut up for it. You might want to be silented. Like people might want to silence you. People might want to ignore you. People might want to ruin your reputation or try to cast you out. All these different things, okay? And they're going to try to hunt you. What do I mean by this? I mean that generally the divergence in society are the solution to society. They're the people who question, why am I learning this way? Why am I studying this way? Why am I teaching and learning this way? Why am I learning, about God this way? Why am I learning about school this way? Why is there fiat Federal Reserve in paper, fake ass money, monopoly money that people give so much, energy to? What is the triangle on the back with the eye? What is that? just a question, okay? I already get it, but I'm just saying. What is a business for? Why do we have to run business this way? Why do we have to do? And I'm not saying that you're always just questioning authority or you're always questioning the norms, but what I'm saying is that these are necessary things. We are to learn, about God. We're learn about, the Holy Spirit, spirituality. We're to learn about Christ. We're to learn, read the Bible. We're to, read religious texts. We're to study in school. We're to learn psychology, philosophy, all these things, English, Spanish, Latin, so many different things. We're to learn all these different things. And the whole thing is that you just don't want to fall into the category of if somebody else will teach you, somebody else will tell you what's right, somebody else is always going to do this, because you've done that for so long. And when you started to recultivate and empower yourself, inner power, you started to empower yourself, then you started to see the benefits of truly learning by yourself, learning in solitude, the solitary mind, cultivating in solitude, sticking yourself in a room, no conversations, waking up early so then you can experience solitude, waking up at early wake up calls at 3:30 in the morning just to get all of your stuff done, because if you at least put in 3 hours of just solid work where nobody's texting you, you're not texting anybody, and you could just focus on all the cultivations of why you're divergent in the first place and not be judged for it, not be looked down upon it, all this other type of stuff, because you just are being this and that you're living with purpose. If you're ultimately cultivating this type of lifestyle where you're waking up early, you're taking care of yourself, you're working out, you're doing all these things, you're doing yoga as a guy, you're doing different things, you're just acting different, okay? You could choose to try to put yourself asleep, to fall asleep like the masses do, okay, where they teach themselves to be asleep, which is literally one thing that I'm going to get into. Literally one thing I'm going to get into right now. It's not up to you, okay? It's nobody's fault but yours. So you are the divergent. So if you are going to use your divergence and channel that diversity to try to blend in, that is kind of going against who you naturally are. Okay, it's going against your nature. But if you Also, if you're neurotypical and you try to, you know, be more divergent, I don't wouldn't say that that's necessarily bad. I'm just saying there's balance to life. I think maybe it's okay to be neurotypical. I think that that's the majority. Okay. And there's different levels of neurodivergence and divergence in general, just being a divergent, being different, being, you know, outstanding, you know, being magnificent, being powerful in the ways that you're powerful. And I'm saying, like, you know, if you're really good at this one thing, you might be neurotypical and all these other things. But if you go into the divergent aspect of this one thing, you could like do some really, really good with it. Like really, really good with it. And you know what I'm talking about for you. You know what I'm talking about for you. I'm leaving it open and feminine for you to be able to receive the proper way. Okay, I'm not going to close it like a, 11:11. I'm not going to close it. Stay open-minded. So with this, guys, is there are different levels. There's different ways of eating. There's different ways of sleeping. There's different ways. It's not always just the 8 hours, 3 meals a day. I mean, that's the neurotypical. It's not always just work the 8 hours. It's not always just live this type of way. There are people who are digital nomads. There are people who are nomads without money. There are people who, and they're living fine. They're living more than fine. I'm not saying that I want to be one of them. I'm not saying you should want to be one of them or you want to be one of them. But if generally they're happy, I would say instead of like bumming them out and telling them like, oh, you a bum, you know what I mean? It's like some people see the system. Some people see the fakeness of the system. And that's also why women and men are homeless, because they see the fakeness of the system. They're not going to participate in satanic systems. They're not going to participate in fiat currency. They're not going to participate in going to a fucking day job and working for somebody who is paying them less than what they know that they're worth. Not even less than they deserve. I know that I'm 1 in 400 trillion to exist. So you paying me $15 an hour is never in any fucking way going to get you to some point where you are going to be 1 in 400 trillion at that point. Do you see what I'm saying? So you're already disciplined in your divergence, okay? You're already disciplined in your divergence. You just have to start to unleash that discipline and be the disciple of that. So it's questioning like, am I supposed to learn this way? And it's not like it's bad. See, and the thing is a lot of neurotypical people, normalized people will say that it's bad. They'll say like, oh, well, if you're studying this way, acting this way, that's too out of the norm. That's too out of my ways perception of who I think you should be or who I think you are or who I think you would be or whatever type of thing like that. And it's like, you must live your life. It's about being autonomous. That's what divergence is being autonomous and going your own way, living your own way, cultivating your own way. And I'm not saying that you don't listen to people. I'm not saying that you don't heed people's knowledge, heed people's suggestions or affirmations. When somebody says, yeah, you could do it, of course I'm going to listen to them. That's a great suggestion and a great affirmation for me. But when somebody says you can't do it, I'll say, watch me. Or when somebody says, you can't do it, I'll say like John Locke from Lost, don't tell me what I can't do. Don't tell me what I can't do, okay? As a matter of fact, so many people in my life have had negative suggestions. I've had a lot of positive suggestions. I'm not going to denounce those. But I'm saying that maybe I heard the negative suggestions and I felt the negative suggestions more than I had seen and had a perception of positive suggestion, even when I was maybe positively suggested, and affirmed when I was a kid. But I associated more with the negative suggestion because I had a negative sense of self or a negative self-esteem or whatever. And so as I started to actualize more positive self-esteem and I transmuted that negative self-esteem, I started being more divergent. I started being more like, I don't want to fall into your category. I don't want to act like you. I don't want to be like you. I like those things of that person. 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 But I also don't like all those habits. So I'm just going to cut those habits out and I'm going to just do these things. And, and obviously like with this, you have failures, you have mess ups. Like, nobody is perfect, okay? But the whole thing about being divergent is studying at a different level, learning at a different level, doing different things, being autonomous, being original, being aboriginal, being authentic, being authoritative. So you are speaking from your own inner authority, okay? Literally. And you are constantly improving and accepting yourself at the greatest self-actualizing, degree, okay? Self-realization degrees, self-transcendence degrees, where you are transcending your ego, where waking up at 3:30, do you think that TC wants to do that? Do you think that TC wants to do that? Do you think that TC wants to do that? Or is it something from above? Is it something that's higher that is like, you know what? TC is the only one listening to his wake-up call from the Most High. He's one of the only ones. He's one of the rare ones. So, of course, at 3:30, at 4 o'clock, at 5:30, whatever early wake-up call, which I believe is before 6 a.m., 5:55 a.m., anytime around then, you are going to receive divine Most High guidance because there's silence. And silence is the loudest. That is the loudest time that you can hear the Most High God. Okay? That is the time where Christ can permeate through you way easier. That's where Chi can permeate through you way easier. That's when Crux, thousandfold energy, can permeate through you easier. Okay? It's a little bit easier to hear the Holy Spirit speaking through you when there's silence, because you don't have all this chatter. You're not at a gathering. You're not at a party. You're not at any of these types of things. So you are listening, cultivating, living a more purposeful, driven life, a purpose-driven life, a purpose-driven life. And it doesn't just stop at 40 days. It doesn't just stop at 40 days and 40 nights. It's a lifelong journey. And remember, Jesus was a breatharian. He fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. The only time that would be considered a breatharian for to this day. We literally consider that being a breatharian for to this day. A breatharian for. That's the top breatharian. So, start to heed things from a different perspective rather than always be judgmental to the things that you don't understand. To be judgmental to the emotions that you don't understand. To be judgmental to the people's thoughts that you don't understand. The people's actions that you don't understand. The people's lifestyles that you don't understand. Instead of always being divisive and, derogatory towards these beings, I'm not even saying be compassionate, but just don't speak about things that you don't understand and be too judgmental about these things that you don't understand, because they are there for you. Ironically, they will still help free you more. They will help cultivate your energy more. They will help you free yourself more, because they are not going to take the typical routes that everybody else is going to take. They are going to set themselves apart and then show people by their actions, because they're not seeking their very sigma male, sigma female energy, where they're like, I don't need acceptance from people. I do this because it's good for me, and I like the habitual construction. I like the discipline of this. I don't do drugs because I'm making videos every day. I don't drink alcohol because I'm so busy every day. And not because I'm busy, I'm productive. I go to the gym, I'm fit, I'm healthy, I have great relationships because I'm focused on these things. I'm focused on these things rather than trying to damage myself, rather than try to instant gratification and gratify my ego, trying to cultivate, I need this, I want this, I want this. But instead they just go to the necessary essentials, and they are just living from a place of minimalism where they don't want. They don't need wants. They don't want to want. They don't even have to want. That's what I'm saying. They don't have to want, because they are content. They are spiritually content, emotionally, mentally, physically content. Okay? That's really the cultivation of it. Peace, much love, namaste. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Check out all the things in the description below. I will talk to you guys in the next one. This is Being Divergent. We will go deeper into this, series, but ultimately, guys, being divergent is just setting yourself apart, not showing up like everybody else wants you to show up. And it's not about being what everybody else wants you to be. It's about being what you are meant to be, what God has brought you to this world for your purpose to be. That's it, guys. Peace.